In this tutorial, we will learn remaining modify commands. If you are interested in previous set of tutorials, complete playlist is given in the description. We will start with move command. Keyboard shortcut for move is M enter. Click on move. Then you will have to select object which you want to move. Now object can be selected in various ways. The normal way is you can directly click on the object you want to select. That is the first way. Then second is you can click in the empty space on the left side and take your cursor on the right side. So this is called as window selection. In this window selection, all the complete object inside window is selected. If I click here, only these objects will be selected. Then escape. You can repeat last command by pressing enter. Then if you click on the right side and take your cursor on the left side, then this is called as crossing window. In crossing window, all the complete objects inside the window is selected, plus object crossed by these dotted lines are also selected. So if I click here, all the objects which was selected in window selection are selected, plus these two lines are also selected. Then if you want to cancel selection of some objects, then you will have to press shift and then click on the object you want to remove from selection. Again press escape. Suppose I want to select by window selection, but sometimes because of the complexity of the object it is not possible to click on the left side. So in that case what you can do, when select object prompt is shown, you will have to type W and press enter. Then if you click on the right side, then also it will create window selection. So it will force it to select by window selection only. In this way, for crossing window you will have to type C. If you type C and press enter, then it will force it to select by crossing window. Then we will continue with our move command. I will type M for move, enter. Then select object. Suppose I want to select these internal objects. So I will click here and make use of window selection. So all the objects inside this window will be selected. Then press enter. Then you will have to specify base point. Suppose I want to move this object and place it here. Then my requirement is I want this center point to be on this end point. So this center point will be my base point. So click there. Then specify second point. So I want to place it here. So this end point will be my second point. So in this way you can make use of points to move the object. And you can also move the object by giving distance. Suppose again click on move. Then if you want to select object which was used by previous command, then you will have to type P. That means previous. So it will select the previous objects. Press enter. So it has automatically selected these objects. Then press enter. Then if you want to move by giving distance, then base point is not very important. You can click base point anywhere. Suppose I will click point here. Then I want to go straight, therefore I will make ortho mode on. Then you will have to specify direction on which side you want to move it. Suppose I want to move it in this direction, then specify the distance. Suppose my distance is 500. Enter. So in this way you can use move command two ways, by specifying the points and by specifying the distance. Then next is rotate. Keyboard shortcut for rotate is RO, enter, click on rotate. Then for most of these modify commands, procedure to use them is same. That means at first you will have to select the object, then you will have to press enter, then you will have to specify base point, and after that either you will have to specify a point or you will have to specify some value for completing that command. Now I want to rotate these lines and make them vertical and horizontal. Therefore I will select these lines, then press enter, then specify base point. So I will specify this intersection point as a base point. Then you will have to specify angle. Make this ortho mode off. Now this is a square object and the angle of this inclined line is 45 degree. So I want to make it vertical. That means I will have to rotate it by the angle of 45. So I will just type here 45 and enter. So in this way this object is rotated in anti-clockwise direction. And if you want to rotate it in clockwise direction, then you will have to specify angle value with negative sign. Suppose I don't want to remove the original objects, I want to keep original objects also and create one copy during rotate. Suppose I will just undo it and I will again give rotate command, then select object, enter, then specify base point. Then to create copy during rotate, you will have to click on copy here. Click on copy, then specify rotation angle. If your ortho mode is on, then it will not show any message here at the cursor. Then you will have to see the message here in the command line, specify rotation angle. And if you want to show the message at cursor, then you will have to make this ortho mode off. Then it will show the message at your cursor. Specify rotation angle, again I will give 45, enter. So in this way it has rotated and created one more copy. Now again I have rotated by giving some value. But suppose I want to rotate with reference to some point. Suppose I want to rotate this line in such a way that it will pass through this point. So I will type RO for rotate, then press enter, then select object, then press enter, then specify base point. I will specify this point as a base point. Then here if you see that it started rotating with reference to this 0 degree. But suppose I want to rotate with respect to this vertical line, then for that you will have to use this reference option. Click on reference, then specify the reference angle. So my reference angle will be this vertical line. So I will click on this point and this end point. Now I am rotating with respect to this line. Then specify new angle, or you can also specify the point. So in this way also you can rotate with reference. And suppose I want to rotate this line to match the angle of this line. Then for that again I will type RO for rotate, enter, then select this object, enter, then I will specify this point as a base point. Then again I will click on reference. Then again my reference angle will be this horizontal line. So I will select 2 points of this line. Then if you want to rotate with respect to a line, then you will have to specify multiple points for reference. So click on these points, then specify this end point and this end point. So in this way this line is rotated with respect to this line. That means this line is rotated to match the angle of this line. So in these ways you can use rotate command. I will just remove these objects. Then we have already learned trim and extend. Then we also learned about arrays. Then next is copy. If you want to create multiple copies of your object, then you can use this copy command. Keyboard shortcut for copy is CO, enter. Click on copy, then select object you want to copy, then press enter, then specify base point. So my base point will be suppose this center point. Then specify second point. Suppose I want to copy it on these 3 points. Then to stop the copy command you can press enter. Or suppose I want to create array, so you can click on this array. Then you will have to specify number of patterns. Suppose I want it to be 5, enter. Then you will have to specify direction and distance. Suppose I want to go straight, so click here on ortho mode, then specify here distance. Suppose I want the gap of 300, so type there 300 and press enter. So here 5 objects are created with gap of 300. Then to stop copy command you can click on this exit. So in this way you can copy object by specifying points. Same way you can also copy object by specifying distance. Suppose again click on copy and select this object, enter. Then to copy object by specifying distance, base point is not very important. You can click anywhere, then give the direction in which direction you want to copy. Suppose I want to go on the upper side, then specify distance. I want to go on the upper side by distance of 500. Enter and enter. So in this way you can copy by specifying distance also. Then we have already learned about mirror, fillet and chamfer. Then next is blend curves. If you want to create tangent or smooth spline curves between selected objects. Suppose I will click on this blend curve. Then I will select this line. So you will have to click on the endpoints. Suppose I want to click on this line and this line. So it will create curve from that side. Then press enter. Suppose I want to create curve from this side, then you will have to click on this side, this line and this line. So curve will be created on this side. Suppose I will create arc, then make ortho off, and I will click 3 points and press enter. I will create some arc here. Then again I will click on blend curve. Then select this arc and this arc. So here this smooth curve is created. Same way you can select these endpoints also. Enter, click on this endpoint and this endpoint. So curve is created in that way. So in this way you can use blend curve. Then explode. We will learn about this command later in this current tutorial only. Then next is stretch. If you want to resize object, you can make use of stretch. Click on stretch. Now for stretch you will always have to use crossing window. So you will have to click on the right side and take your cursor on the left side. Then in the case of stretch, the objects which are completely inside the window are moved and the objects which are partially selected are stretched or their size will change. Now here you can see that this object and this vertical line is completely inside the window, but these inclined lines and these horizontal lines are partially selected. So click there, then press enter, then specify base point, then specify direction. If you want to go straight, click on ortho mode. Then give the direction. I want to go in this direction. Then specify the distance. I want to increase the size by gap of 600. Enter. So in this way you can stretch it by specifying distance. Then you can also stretch by specifying reference point. Suppose I want to stretch up to the center of this circle. Keyboard shortcut for stretch is S, enter. Type S, enter. Then select object using crossing window and press enter. Now I want to match this endpoint with this center point. So I will have to specify this endpoint as a base point and my second point will be this center point. So in this way you can stretch by using reference points also. Then next is scale. If you want to change the size of object by giving multiplication factor. Suppose I want to change the size of this object. Click on scale. Keyboard shortcut for scale is SC, enter. Scale, then select object, then press enter, then specify the base point. So scale will be changed around that base point. That means that base point will be kept at that position only and other points will move. I will click here. Then you will have to specify scale factor. Again it is not showing message at cursor because our ortho mode is on. So in that case you will have to see your message here, specify scale factor. And if you want to see it near cursor, then you will have to make this ortho mode off. Then it will show the message near cursor. Suppose I want to double the size of this object, then you will have to type here 2. If you want to increase the size of the object, then you will have to specify scale factor more than 1. And if you want to reduce the size of the object, then you will have to specify scale factor less than 1. Press enter. So in this way the size of this object has been doubled. But while scaling the object, original objects get removed. But suppose if you don't want to remove the original objects, then for that click on scale, select object, enter, then specify base point. I will select the center point. Then to keep the original object, you will have to click on this copy. Click on copy, then specify the scale factor. Suppose I want to reduce the scale by half, so I will type here 0.5, enter. So in this way original object is kept and new scaled object is created. Then there is one more option in scale, that is reference. Let's see how to use that. Select object, I will select this object, enter, then specify base point. I will specify the center point as a base point. Then here is the reference option. Click on reference. Then at first you will have to specify the reference length. Suppose I want to increase the radius of this circle to match this point. That means I want to change the radius of this circle. So my reference length will be radius of this circle. So I can also specify that length by specifying points. So I will select this point and this point. So this is my reference length. Then I want to match that length with this point. So in this way the radius of this circle is changed to match the length of this line. So in this way you can use reference object in scale. Then next is array. First is rectangular array. If you want to copy your objects in number of rows and column, then you can use this rectangular array. Suppose I will remove unwanted objects. Then click on rectangular array. Then select object. Then press enter. Here array is created with 3 rows and 4 columns. If you want to change number of rows and column, then you will have to click here. From here you can change column count. Suppose I want column to be 6, press enter. Then here you can specify gap between columns. Suppose I want gap of 400, enter. Then here you can specify total column distance. Suppose I want to arrange these 6 items in 2500 distance. So just type here 2500, press enter. The gap between two columns has been adjusted automatically. From here you can change row count. Suppose I want 4 rows, enter. Now here the number of rows in array is not updated. In that case you will have to take your cursor below. Then it will update it. Then from here you can specify gap between two rows. Suppose it is 400, enter, and same way you can specify here total distance. And if you are creating 3D array, then you will have to specify here levels and gap between them. Then to accept this array, click on close array. So it will create that array. And later on after creation, if you want to edit the array, then just click on the array. And from here you can adjust any parameter. Suppose I want 5 columns and 5 rows. And click on OK. So in that way your array will be updated. And suppose if you want different shape for some atoms. Suppose for these 4 atoms I want normal circle shape. So at first you will have to create that object. I will create one circle. Then click on this array items. Then from here you will have to use this replace atom. Click on replace atom. Then select replacement object. I want to replace with this circle. Click on this circle and press enter. Then select base point of replacement object. The center point will be my base point. Click on it. Then select an atom in the array to replace. So I want to replace this one, and all these 4 atoms. Then press enter. Then to stop the array command, again press enter and press escape. So in this way you can specify different atoms for some selected atoms. And if you want to change the direction, I will click on this atom. Suppose I want column on other side, then you will have to specify here -500. Enter. So in this way you can change the direction. Same way you can change it for row also. -400. Enter. So by specifying negative sign you can control the direction. Then click on close array. Then to shift this UCS icon, you will have to type here UCS icon, then press enter, then click on this no origin. Then if you want to remove these change shapes and bring back these original shapes, then again click on this atom, and using this reset array you can remove any modification and it will bring back the original shapes. Then if you want to change the original shape or make some modification in the original shape, then for that again click on this array atom, click on this edit source. Using this edit source you can make changes to the original atom. Click on edit source, then select atom in the array, then it will switch to array editing environment. Then if you want to come out of that environment, then you will have to enter array close. Click here OK. Now here one more button is added for coming out of this edit mode. Then suppose here I want to add one more circle. Type C, enter, specify center point and specify second point. So it has been updated in all the atoms. Then to come out of this array editing mode, take your cursor here and you can decide whether you want to discard or save changes. Suppose I want to save it, so click on save changes. So in this way you can make changes to original atom. Now this array is a single object. If you want to break it into individual objects, press escape. Then you can use this explode command. Click on explode, select this object and enter. Now all these objects has been separated. I will remove these atoms. Then click on this arrow. Then next is path array. To create this path array, your path should be a single object. So you can either use circle, arc, line, or if you want connected objects, then you will have to use polyline or spline. Suppose I will use spline to create path. Click on spline. Then I will start spline from the center point. Then specify points. Enter. Escape. Then click on this arrow and select path array. Then select object. I want to array this object. Click. Enter. Then select path curve. My path curve will be this spline. Click on it. So here path array is created. From here you can adjust the gap between two atoms. Suppose it is 400. Enter. And take your cursor below to update it. And if you want to change number of atoms, then you will have to click here and select this divide option. Then you can change number of atoms. Suppose I want it to be 20. Enter. So in that case this gap between atoms will be adjusted automatically. And if you want to change the distance, then you will have to click here and click on measure. So from here you can adjust the distance. But when you change the distance, the number of atoms will also adjust automatically. But suppose I want to change the distance, but I don't want to change number of atoms. So for that you will have to click here on atom count. You can see that right now it is selected. It is shown with one rectangle. So if you click on it, that rectangle will be removed. That means it will not be locked to these atoms. Suppose if I now change the distance, enter. So with that number of atoms I cannot give 500 as a distance. So I will reduce the atom. Suppose I will make number of atoms to be 10. Enter. And take your cursor below. Then I will give here distance of 200. Enter. So here you can adjust the gap between the atom without changing the count. You can also further increase it. Take your cursor below to update it. And you can also change number of atoms separately. Suppose I want to make it 12. Enter. Take your cursor below And if you want to link them, again click on it, so those items will get linked, so it will get filled completely on your path. Then you can also specify your rows. Suppose I want number of rows to be 3, enter. It will create the offset row. And from here you can adjust the gap between row. Suppose it is 300, enter. And if you want to change the direction of the row, then you will have to specify negative sign before the distance. Press enter and take your cursor below. So in this way you can change the direction for rows. Then here you can see that your object is rotated to maintain the tangency with the path. If you don't want to rotate it, then you will have to click on this align atoms. So now here the object has been kept as it is and it is not rotated to align the path. Again click on this align atom. So here you can see that those are rotated to align the path. Then click on OK. Again click on one of the atom of the array, and all the other atoms such as edit source, replace atoms and reset array is same as we have seen in rectangular array. Close array. Then again I will explode it and remove unwanted objects. Then next is polar array. If you want to copy objects in circular format, suppose I will create one reference circle. I will click on this arrow and select this 2-point circle. Then I will specify first point here and second point here. Then I want to array this object on this circle. Click here and select polar array. Then select object, enter, then specify center point of array. Now I will have to specify center of this circle. Now here it is not showing center point of this circle. To show the center point, you will have to take your cursor on the circle. Then it will show the center point. Click there. So here polar array is created with 6 atoms. From here you can change number of atoms. Suppose I want it to be 10, enter. Then from here you can give the fill angle. Right now it is 360 degree, therefore it is completely filled. Suppose I want to arrange these atoms in 180 degree. So type there 180, enter. So in this way it has been arranged in 180 degree. And if you want to change the direction, then click here on direction. So in this way you can adjust the direction also. Then again suppose I want it to be full 360 degree, enter. Then here you can add rows also. If you want to create array further away, suppose I want number of rows to be 3, enter. Take your cursor below. So in this way further 2 rows has been added, and here you can control the gap between rows, enter. Then click on close array. Then all the remaining atoms are same as we have seen in rectangular array. Then we have already learned about offset in previous tutorial. Then click on this modify. Next command is lengthen. If you want to change the length of your arc or lines, suppose I will create one line here. Then change the length of this line. Click on modify and click on lengthen. Keyboard shortcut for lengthen is LEN. Click on lengthen. If you click on the object, it will show the length of the object. Then I will select this delta option. Then suppose here I will give delta length of 50, enter. Then click on the line. So it will increase the length by 50 every time you click on the line. And if you want to increase the length on this side, then you will have to click on this side. This is the delta option. Press enter, enter, then percentage. If you want to reduce the size of the line, then you will have to give percentage less than 100. Suppose I will give percentage of 50, enter, then select the object. So here size of your line will reduce by 50% every time. Then again enter, then percent. And if you want to increase the size of the line, then you will have to specify value more than 100. Suppose I want it to be 150, enter, then select the object. Every time it will increase the length by 50%, and it depends on the side where you click. And again enter, then total. In total you can specify total length of the line. Suppose I want line of 2000 length, so just type there 2000, enter, then select the object. So it will change the length of the line to 2000. Enter. By clicking on it we can check it. Current length is 2000. Then using dynamic, you can change the length by clicking the point. Click on dynamic, click on the line, then specify the point. So wherever you click up to that, it will increase or decrease the length. So that is lengthen. Then next is align. If you want to align some object with some other objects, suppose I have here one rectangle and I have here one line. Suppose I want to align this rectangle with this line. Then click on modify, click on align, select this object, enter, then specify first source point. So I want to align this bottom line, so I will take this point as a first source point, then specify first destination point. That is, this point will match with which point of this line. Suppose I want to match it with this end point, so click there, then specify second source point, click on this point, and I will specify this point. Then I don't want to specify third point, so press enter. Then if you want, you can automatically scale this object, but right now I don't want to scale it, so click on no. So it will align that object to match that line. Suppose again I want to align this object with this line and I want to scale it. Click on modify, click on align, then select this object, enter, then specify first source point. I will specify this end point and this end point. Then second source point will be this end point and this end point. Then press enter, then scale object, yes. So it will change the scale of the object. That means it will change orientation also and scale also. So in this way you can use align. Then next is break. If you want to break some object, click on break. Then suppose I want to break here, so select object. So wherever you click, that will be your first point for break. So I will click here, then specify second point. So between these 2 points it will be broken. Suppose again I want to break this line. Keyboard shortcut for break is BR, enter. Type BR, enter, then select object. Now this point is defined as a first point for break. Suppose I want to change this point, then click on first point, then you can specify other point. Suppose I want to specify this midpoint, then specify second point. So in this way you can use this break command. Then if you don't want to create this gap but still you want to break the object, then you will have to use this break at point. Click on break at point, then select this object. Suppose I want to break this line at midpoint, click on it. So here this line has been broken into two objects but no gap has been created. So that is break at point. Then if you want to join back these two objects and create single line, then you can use this join command. Click on join, then select this object and enter. So here this object has been converted into single object. Escape. You can also type J for join, enter. Then if you select these two objects, then it will fill that gap and create single line. And if you have multiple lines and if you join them, then single polyline will be created. Click on join, then select all these objects and enter. So it will be converted into single object. So in this way you can use join. So all the important modify commands has been covered. In the next tutorial we will solve some exercise based on what we learn in this tutorial, and after that we will create next tutorial for next set of commands. So thanks for watching. We will stop here.